Hi, everybody. It's Bunny coming at you live with live chats from At Above and Beyond for Monday, October 2nd. So normally we have both Maggie and Bunny, but today Maggie is dealing with some family matters, so she will not be here today. However, you do have me, Bunny, and so I will be holding our live chats for today, Monday, October 2nd. I can't believe it's October already. Some other exciting news is that today marks, it says it's our 41st episode on Spotify, but we did include the one episode that we had, which was our launch for our book. So we're going to actually kind of minus one of those. And so today is our 40th episode then. So that means we've been doing one a week since January. I believe we missed just 1 week, and 1 week we were late, but you wouldn't have known that if you were listening where you get your podcast from, because it still would have shown up on Sunday. And that's just it. If you're catching us live on Facebook for the first time, do like us, do share us, and know that we do also show up on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts on the Sunday following. We're at 11 a.m. Eastern. So we do come onto Facebook Live every Monday afternoon, sometime in the afternoons, anywhere from 12 o'clock noon until about 6 o'clock p.m. because that's evening. But anytime, whenever we can, we just kind of pop in, surprise you, and we show up live on Facebook. So go ahead and follow us. You can like our content. You can share. That would help us out greatly. Comment as well and give us some feedback. So today I want to talk about the topic of be delusional and dream big. I don't know what has happened. I heard that there was a powerful super moon on, I believe on Friday, super full moon on Friday. I have some friends who are into astrology and that numerology and that sort of thing. I don't know a lot about it, but I follow things on the internet. So I do see things that will show me about super moons. And I know we're coming into eclipse season, and people who I talk to, and they said the super moon is when the moon is the closest it is to the earth, for the year. So that's why it's the last super moon of the year and of 2023. And we're about to go into eclipse season, apparently, which is, I guess, a big thing. And according to numerology and astrology, a lot of things do happen in sequence and in patterns and repeating. And one of the things is with the full moon. You will hear often that even people who don't believe in astrology will talk about how weird things start to happen with the full moon. A lot of our myths and legends will also come around for full moon time, things like werewolves and that sort of thing. We'll also talk about full moon and how people act differently and that sort of thing. And that absolutely just kind of points out to the fact that there is some kind of energy. And I know that there are people who talk about the fact that with our body being made mostly of water, that the moon will affect tides and everything on Earth, and so it can affect us as well. But that being said, I actually saw some videos that said that you may be feeling very creative this month, in the month of October, and after that incredible full moon, which was really good for letting go and for releasing, a lot of us may have found some emotions coming up. Even some emotionally trying times would have come up. And I know that I talked about on my own personal page, Bunny Keating, I also talked about the ideas that when we're changing ourselves, when we're growing, when we're healing, we will tend to maybe isolate ourselves or keep ourselves only with people who we know won't ruffle our feathers very much, or who wouldn't bother us very much. We tend to kind of maybe hide, especially in the last few years. That was happening with a lot of us. And sometimes we won't realize and recognize when certain things will come up and bristle us again, come up and kind of push up our quills is what I'm getting, the message I'm getting right now. And that did happen to me. That actually happened to me twice yesterday with my children, and on Saturday with my mother. And the thing about that is that when I had that bristle moment, I reacted in ways that were sort of like the unhealed version of me, would have reacted. Now, it's not the first time that this has happened. Of course, this has happened again. These things do happen as they come up. However, I was able to, first of all, my sons they're old enough, they're 20 and 23, to stop me in my tracks and say, hey, the behavior that you're doing right now, I don't like it. And it stopped me. It was like a stun. And I then later was able to recognize and understand what had happened and what process led me to that. I was able to observe and understand those things. So that was really great. And reacting in those sort of ways, that was the healing part of it. Now, also on the other hand, that was the letting go and healing parts. On the other hand as well, I was able to start to come up with creative ideas, and inspiration has just been flowing through me all weekend. And I was trying to think of, even to come up with a topic for this, I was like, well, what are the topics? And all of these topics were shooting out at me. And normally I will actually rely a lot on Maggie to come up with a topic, or, things that will have come up through my clients, through myself, through videos, whatever the case may be, through friends, seeing things posted on social media. And today I was just coming up with so many ideas. I actually had to write some down for future podcasts. And I don't know what's going to happen. I know myself, I'm excited because there are so many different ideas that I have for my own personal business. I want to continue to grow that. I even took it upon myself this weekend to actually reach out to the mayor and to city councillors and to my MP, member of parliament, and member of provincial parliament. For anybody who's not from Canada, that's our government. So a local government, and then our federal government. And I reached out to them on something that I really thought very passionately about. And I did say in the email that, I don't have a solution, because if I did, I likely wouldn't be emailing them. I would be sitting beside them. Maybe I'd be emailing them, but I'd be sitting beside them as a politician myself if I had the answers to those sort of things. I don't purport to have answers to things. Instead, I was just pointing out a crack in something, in a system. And but it was the fact that I actually stood up and did that. I never would have normally thought that that would have been something that I would have done. And I'm actually glad to say that all of them did reply to my email. Most of the city councilors, anyway. There's there's a lot of city councilors, and I know that they might have differing things that they take care of, but all of the mayor did reply to my email, the member of parliament did, the member of provincial parliament did, all of them did. Now, of course, I did get some political answers to the feedback that I provided. However, I was able to feel good about myself for having actually taken that step, even though it scared me. And so that's something that I want to talk about as well, is the fact that if something doesn't scare you when you think about it, if you're going to take a step, if you want to take a big step, a big leap, and that doesn't frighten you in some way, you're not thinking big enough. And I know that that sounds so crazy, but in your comfort zone, you feel comfortable, you feel great, you feel okay, you feel fine. But if you really want expansion, which is what our whole purpose, when we search for purpose of our life, the whole purpose here is for soul's expansion. It's to experience every facet that we can experience in this universe, in this world, in every different way. And so if you are going to think about that next step, that next thing that you want to do, and you're not scared out of your mind thinking, how am I going to do this? What is it that is going to take? Just a second. Let me take a drink. And you're not thinking, oh my goodness, I don't have everything planned. What if it doesn't work? What if it does work? Any of those things. I don't want people to see me. There's a multitude of different things that you could be afraid of. What are people going to think about me? What aren't people going to think about me? Is anybody even going to notice? How much time am I going to waste on this? There's a whole bunch of things that your mind, your thoughts, your monkey mind, your ego will throw at you. And if you don't have fear, or as Maggie had coined the term earlier this year, if you're not scare-sighted about something, If you are not scared but equally excited, then it's not big enough. It's not big enough. So think of something even bigger. Now, no, you don't have to follow along everything that you do. But I do myself. I have in my phone, I have a a note that I put things on. Like type things on there, any ideas. Also on my computer, I have the post-its, not physical post-its, but electronic digital post-its that I will type in there when things come out. I will even use my voice recorder on my phone. I have a clipboard with paper and pen right where I sit by the, on my couch when I'm watching YouTube on the iPad. A whole but there's little journals around, there's ideas around, and a lot of people will have these and you just jot them down. Sometimes these things don't go anywhere, and that's okay. Things don't need to go anywhere. The funniest things is when the ones that are like so incredible to me is I firmly believe that we are connected to a collective consciousness. So there is some scientific proof of this in nature where they've actually, I believe it was in the Galapagos Islands where they were, I believe it was birds. I know that there were monkeys as well. There's been a few different experiments where there was the same type of species of bird or primate that were on an island and they could not reach each other. So they wouldn't have been able to fly to that place or to be able to communicate directly to communicate with them physically. And the scientists, the people who were doing the experiments, they taught one of these animals to do this thing, which then taught another and that sort of thing. And as they learned it, the same species of animal on the other island and the other place that couldn't do it also learned it at the same time. And so it was this idea that we are all kind of connected consciously and connected by energetically through an unseen field to our species. Not just to our species, we're also connected to each other through like when I mean each other, I mean us through animals and plants and rocks and grass and all of that stuff as well. But in this idea, it was actually a direct correlation, scientific correlation, that did show that the consciousness existed and that it could share to other animals. So when that does happen, when you come up with a really fantastic idea, and this has been happening to me since I was a young child. I remember in grade 4 having come up with this fantastic idea. I've always had a very good imagination or a really good connection to this, consciousness, this global consciousness, this collective consciousness. That's the word I was looking for. And so I've always had a really good connection with this collective consciousness, which actually allowed me to pull things down and kind of think about them. And when I thought about these things and then come to find out that someone else has come up with the idea or that thing already existed and I had no way of knowing that, as being like an 8-year-old child, I had 8 or 9-year-old child, I had no idea about specific things, but I would be like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. This is what I want to invent. This is an idea I had. And speaking of inventions, that's another time where humans have done it as well, where there has been an idea like the light bulb. The light bulb was actually invented by multiple scientists at the same time. The same with the phone. Multiple scientists had actually developed that. So a lot of inventions and that sort of thing actually do come up with that. And it's more of like the collective consciousness because you're all tapping into what the universe needs to bring forth. The next thing that needs to be created. And I find that even with myself, with podcast topics or course topics, or where I'm going to do, like I had this idea to go to wineries and cafes and bars. And it's not like it's the first time that this has ever happened. I understand that. But it's like, oh, I think I have this feeling, this nudge that's pulling me to give tarot readings in a park, to give tarot readings at a cafe, to give tarot readings at a bar, a restaurant, to give tarot readings at wineries. And I looked into how to do it and I started like taking the steps to do it. Nothing panned out on my end, but that's okay. I took the steps and that's really all that I'm asked to do. But I started to notice and the universe started to show me that other people had taken up that call and that other people were doing those things. And I was so like just floored again. I was floored again. And that's the whole thing, is because of dreaming big and dreaming, like being delusional in your dreaming, not worrying about what people think, not worrying about where you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know all the details. You don't have to say, this is how I'm going to do this. This is how this is. You don't have to do all of that. What the only part of your job is, when you get that creative nudge, that message, is just kind of play it out and see where it takes you, see where it leads you. A lot of times for me, myself personally, I will get a lot of creative nudges, and just expressing them, just writing them down, just saying them out loud, just telling somebody about them, whatever the case may be, that's enough. And then it goes away. And then it's, and then maybe somebody else does it in the future, or that sort of thing. Whatever is meant for you will find you. You will find it. It's going to come to you. There's nothing you have to do or be or say to change that. Things will come to you. As I said, I believe it was last week. I know I've said it on something. I don't remember if it was on here or if it was on one of my personal TikTok videos, but we don't all want the same thing. So the thing about that is that, yes, you may come up with the idea, but you're going to give it a different spin. You're going to kind of talk about it in a different way. And your energy, the energy that is behind you, the things that make you who you are and uniquely who you are just as unique as a snowflake. As a matter of fact, I was actually going to talk a little bit about self-love. So I guess I can kind of put it in here because it's kind of led to this, which is what happens, which is amazing. I saw a video today, and I know that I have been kind of talking about, what does self-love mean? When people are like, love yourself more. And I was like, what does that mean? And people really couldn't explain it to me. They couldn't tell me what exactly that meant. And a lot of times it was because they would project onto me something that they had themselves. So they said, when you look in the mirror, do you love the person you see? And I said, yes. And then it was like, oh, and they didn't know how to go on to that. I also have always loved who I was inside. I've always known I was smart, I was expressive, I was kind, I was generous, I was caring, all of these things that I love about myself. I 100% have always been confident in those abilities, those things. Now, do I have negative self-talk? Sure, sometimes I do. A lot of times that negative self-talk, it's just because it's beliefs that were picked up along the way in my 47 years of life, that I have picked up somebody else's belief and adopted it as my own, and then repeated it. Why we do this, I don't know. There is some social reasons and that sort of thing. If you listen to the Voices of Empowerment talk, Linda Rogers talks about that and the social impacts, where in the past, if we didn't fit in with our society, if we didn't fit in socially, we would not get fed, we would not get mates, we would not be successful, and we would not be able to survive, because surviving in the wild alone is not it's not really good for success. We're much better when we are together, when we are with community. And so sometimes being with community means that we have to sort of fit in. And anyways, so this brings me to my self-love and what I heard today on a video, which sort of helped me a little bit more. And that was when it was explained. I've heard before the explanation that everything on Earth is created from Earth. And so every single thing, every single molecule that we are is from Earth. Well, not only is it from Earth, it's from the galaxy, from the universe, from all of creation. Every single atom, molecule, electron, neutron, every little cell, every little part of us is made up of the same exact material that you see in the universe. And we often, I know I myself, will look at a tree and marvel at it. We'll look at a sunset and be in awe. We'll look at the stars in the sky and absolutely just glory in that and give gratitude and appreciation. we are also that. Every little part of us is that. So please, for today, give yourself a little bit of appreciation, gratitude, and be in awe of the amazingness that you are a part of this incredible universe, this incredible creation, this incredible existence, that you are a part of that, a piece of that is just as special as that star in the sky, including our sun that sets and rises and gives us that beauty every day. Just remember that you are that as well. So that's where I'm going to leave you for today, October 2nd. Next Monday is a holiday here. It is Thanksgiving Monday. So I don't know yet what's going to happen. We'll see what we're going to do as far as the thing. We might do it a day later. So if you're looking for us live, look for that. We'll put up a post on our Facebook page if we do decide to go a day later. And then, yeah, we will see you all on our podcast channel. So Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of those. As always, you can also email us at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com or find our website at aboveandbeyond.com. We are feverishly working to get our next book out, which is our Christmas Miracles book. We have received many submissions. I think we have right now we have 19, so we're tied for the same amount as our most, but we're waiting for 2 more authors who said they needed a bit of an extension. So we are waiting for those 2 authors, and if we get those 2 authors, we will have the most authors for one of our books, and we are just so excited and so ecstatic to be able to kind of produce this book and give it as more of a gift for the world. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and look at our page. You can even listen to some other of our podcasts where we've talked about it. That's it for today. Talk to y'all tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week. Bye.